That's what I'm using these gloves for. Praise the Lord. So here I go again. Um, I left off on the first video with I believe in praying, and I gave it to God, and I did. And I was intent to start the second video on the next day. But after I made the first video, I went in the kitchen. Well, I went and took a shower. Then I went in the kitchen and prepared to make me a steam. And because of my physical disabilities, I'm able to stand that long. And I decided that I was going to do this steam, but I was going to have to stand up to do it. So I did the steam, and I was leaning over the stove, and, I began to hurt, so I began to pray. But I didn't pray for me. In the beginning, I began to pray for my daughter. Well, as I was praying for my daughter, I went to singing. I got emotional. Didn't cry, but emotional in the Lord's spirit. So, with that being said, I did the steam for like 22 minutes. So, for about 17 of those minutes, I was uplifting the Lord in prayer and praise and thanking Him and telling Him I know He's gonna, heal my daughter, and I thank Him, So I was thanking Him in advance. So as I was thanking Him in advance, it came in my spirit to pray for specific on this healing. So, you can't rush God. You can't put no timing on God, but it got in my spirit to pray for this timing. And I prayed for the timing to be immediately released for the pain, for the distress that she may have been in, by me not knowing exactly how she felt. I could only imagine. So I'm like, Lord, this is my child, Jesus, and I believe that you're gonna heal her, but I need you to do this like the 24-hour kind of thing. I needed, like you said, that you could tear down the temple and rebuild it in 24 hours. I needed that kind of blessing, miracle for her healing, so to speak. So as I was praying, I went to praying like that, and I said, Lord, just like you said, you can tear down the temple and build in 24 hours. I need the doctors to be in awe. I need them to be amazed. I want them to say they don't know what happened, but something miraculous had to happen because only God could have brought her out like that. So that was my prayer. So after I prayed for her and said that, I said, Lord, I need 24 hours for me because I was barely getting around. My left leg was like 3 times the size that it normally be. To tell that story about the swelling, I have to tell a long story. So I'm just going to say it swells, but it was triple the size it normally swells. So I went to praying for myself, like, Lord, I was feeling a little bad. I wasn't stressing, so to speak, but my body was. So, I was barely just moving and started feeling, like sick and wasn't sick. So instead of me focusing on that, I said, Lord, I got to be well for the children. I got to be well, to be able to help, to assist my daughter. So as I was praying for myself, I'm like, Lord, I need 24 hours too so I can get around better. I can't hardly move. You know what I'm saying? So as I was praying, I ended up shouting. And then if any Christians out there, they know what shouting means. And I went to shouting the victory. I went from the kitchen, going into the kitchen, couldn't hardly walk, to shouting out the kitchen. So I went to shouting, and I still was praising the Lord. And I praised Him, and I got into praise and couldn't stop. So when I did stop, I was confident that my prayer had got a breakthrough. Not only I knew my prayer had got a breakthrough on her being healed, but I knew I had got a breakthrough on the emergency healing that we needed right then for me and her. So, well, for her and myself. So I thank God, and I was able to relax. I wasn't able to go to sleep, but I was able to relax. And I thank God for that. So as I was relaxing, I was contemplating on all the things that I was going to talk about on the second video. Okay, so the next morning, I said, I'm going to go and do the video the next morning. And when I got up that next morning, something said, don't do the video. Well, I'm going to say I was up and was going to do it later and fell asleep. So when I fell asleep, and I was like, no, I ain't going to do the video. I'll wait. And I fell asleep, and I was awakened by my granddaughter to say that her mother called and said that they was going to let her eat. Probably a little bit after 7 that morning. So I'm like, let her eat. Okay, God, you move real fast. So I'm like, okay, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I received. So we went and got the things that she wanted, and she called us in transmission to the hospital to get it to her. That they told her that she couldn't eat. They changed their mind. So I said to my son-in-law and my oldest granddaughter, we're going to take her to the hospital anyway, because when they get ready for her to eat, it'll be already there. So we agreed. We took her to the hospital, came back to the house. So we got back to the house. My daughter was video chatting. She could barely talk, but, she was letting us know, with everything in her that she was, trying to get better. She was holding on, They video chatted with her. I'm in the background telling her to trust God, don't give up, trust God. Mama praying, Mama ain't gonna stop praying because she know how I pray, So I know a lot of people prayed for my daughter. I mean, hundreds, maybe even thousands of people prayed for my daughter. So I do believe that not only my prayer manifested, but everybody that prayed for her. So let me just say that I'm not taking all the credit because I pray. I'm taking some of the credit that I know that my prayer reaches God, and yours can too. You just got to believe. So that was, that. But after we was told that we waiting and we waiting because we know now she possibly is finna get ready to eat, but the devil tried to intervene in that. He threw arrows at me, he threw arrows at her. They missed. We dodged them and we kept on praying. So the next day, she called us, which was on yesterday, and she said that they let her eat. So I'm like, they let her eat. They take her off the ventilator. Well, come to find out, she wasn't actually on the ventilator. She was on the breathing tube. So they was trying to put her on the ventilator. So I really was under the pressure, until tonight that she actually never went on the ventilator, that she was on just the breathing tube. And they kept trying to put her on the ventilator, but God kept intervening. So I said all that to say this. So I'm like, well, she on the ventilator, because this is what I'm thinking at the time. She on the ventilator. They got to take out the ventilator because they let her eat, because they're not going to let her eat on the ventilator. I mean, they don't do that. So, that was a lot. So I'm like, okay, come on, God. I see them 24 hours don't manifest it already. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, come on, God. Thank you, God. Keep on thanking God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. So in the midst of that, she was still barely talking. She could say some stuff. She was shaking her head, nodding her head, saying a few words, out of breath again, like maybe 2 words, sometimes 3. So, we kept on with her. Before you know it, my grandbaby was messing with her, and she went to talking junk to my grandbaby. So my grandbaby kept doing it, so she kept talking to my grandbaby, and we just had a wonderful time with her. Just video chatting, knowing we could see her but couldn't be there was still a lot. And it was a lot better than not being able to see her at all or talk with her on the phone anymore, because up until 2 days before that, she was actually talking on the phone. She just was having a lot of shortness of breath. So I stopped calling her as much so she could get some rest. So after that, on yesterday, they told her that they was going to have to put her back on the ventilator machine. Well, we thought ventilator, but they kept trying. We didn't know they kept trying and failed, but this is what she was told. When she got through eating, she was going to have to be put on the ventilator, or that night. So she woke up this morning. She said they took the big breathing tube out. So, I'm like, I ain't hearing nothing else about this ventilator. I ain't say nothing. She was in a good mood. She was talking. Come to find out, she had been up walking. They had actually opened the blinds to her room because she was up doing stuff. You know, she done went from 2 days ago, could hardly talk, thinking it the worst of the worst. Well, I didn't, but some people did. And in reality, God was healing her body. He was reconstructing it. So I said all that to say this. I was sharing the good news with a couple of my family members. I put a little on Facebook. And then, you know, I kept on saying, I got to make the video, got to make the video. Every time I think about making the video, it was like God put me on hold about the video. So I didn't make it. But I had a lot that I wanted to say. So this video is totally different from what it was going to actually be. So bear with me. After that happened yesterday, let me say, I'm going to go back to yesterday. My sister gave me a call on, told my sister, you know, the good news, and she on her way, she don't aid, and she might have to go back on the ventilator, not knowing she never was on it. So this is the news I'm delivering. So my sister called me back yesterday after I told her that, probably 2 hours later, said that my cousin called and say somebody put on Facebook, rest in peace to Keisha. And so I'm like, rest in peace to Keisha. My sister said, they saying like Keisha dead. What's going on? I'm like, Keisha's fine, Faye. I said, actually, every time I talk to Keisha, she doing a little bit better. And so me and her praised, you know, the Lord on the phone and laughed at the people who put it up there and told the devil he was a lie, get back in the pits of hell where he belonged, because he can't have mine. I'm not going to give up that easy. Never. So I said all that to say this. Even the ones that go astray, I love you. I love you. Whatever you feel you got to do to be a whole person, I love you. But I'm going to jump back to my main subject and say, in the other time, I would have got mad, but I knew what I was asking God to manifest. I see what God was manifesting from that prayer. It hadn't been 2 days ago. So I said all that to say this. I believe he was already healing her body. I really believe that he was going to heal her body completely, but I needed him to go on and reconstruct her and start immediately because of the distress and anguish that I could only imagine that she was in, because I have no clue. So, back to today. We talking to her on the phone today. She just laughing and talking, and we so happy because she laughing and talking. She ain't got the big tube in her nose no more, but she got a little one. And she was, you know, just talking to everybody and, you know, telling how she felt or whatever. And then she was talking to the nurse. The nurse came in. So the nurse came in and they was telling her that her breathing was 40 liters, I believe she said. If I say it wrong, you don't have to correct me. Just understand the blessing behind it, the miracle behind it. You know what I'm saying? So I believe she said 40 liters. It had got up to 60 liters. She said 40 liters was 40%. So guess what? 60 liters is 60%. So I had prayed for God to give her 100% healing. When I said 24 hours, I said, Lord, 100%. I was already saying full recovery, which means the same thing, but I said 100%. So when you know you're getting a confirmation from God, you'll know exactly what I mean by stressing about the 100% when I was already praying for full and speedy recovery. So I said all that to say this. So being specific, when I was praying about the 24-hour prayer and turnaround and blessing and healing, I was saying 100%, Lord. So I said all that to say this. I had already told my daughter before they told her that I prayed to the Lord and asked for 100%, and 100% is what she was going to get. Okay. When the lady was saying about the 60%, I reminded her on that call that God said 100%, 60%, you on the way, 40 was good, 60 is better, but 100% is what you going to get. God said it, you going to get it. So she look at me crazy every time I tell her something, but everything I tell her, God bring it forth just the way I see it. So I didn't think 100% was going to come today, but I knew that God was going to give her that 100%. And he's not through with her 100%. It's just the beginning. So I said all that to say this. On the call that we was on, she said she was going to call back later, and I let her know that I was going to send her some information. And she said, okay. Well, she didn't call back, and I forgot to send the information. So she eventually called me back. She was trying to find out like what happened. Excuse me. So I let her know that. Well, actually, I sent her the information, and then she called, and she was saying she was trying to figure out what happened. You know what I'm saying? And I never said, you said you was gonna call back in like an hour. All I know is I was happy to hear from her because her voice had got stronger. She was getting more and more like herself. She was pretty when she was sick, but when you get healed, you're prettier. You can tell that God put that glow right back on her that the devil tried to snatch up out of her. So I said all that to say this. I kept telling her how pretty she was when she was sick, and I let her know she was getting prettier and prettier. Every time I talked with her, I let her know, you baby, you getting pretty and pretty. When I talked to her the last time, she was glowing. I can honestly say she was. And she like, Mama, for real? I'm like, yeah, baby, every time I talk to you, you're more beautiful than the last. And she actually is. That's the healthy miracle God did it. Glow. And she has it. And I want her to let her light shine forever. So back to the story. She me and her talked and laughed, and I kept telling her to trust God, and I told her, God gonna give you that 100%, not just for this situation, but your whole entire body gonna be 100% in the way you think it should be. That's what God gonna give you. And so she talked, she shared a lot of stuff. She told me she had shared a post on Facebook, and she hoped that she said everything she needed to say, but she knows she left some stuff out. I said, well, baby, whatever you decide to put on there, that's fine with me, because in my mind, like, girl, you couldn't even talk 2 days ago. So whatever you said was a plus, because guess what? God done brought you over. It ain't nothing the devil can do.